5:30, and time to call the meeting to order. If you would, please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to go out of order of the agenda a little bit because we do have a special presentation that we'd like to start the meeting with.
Steve? ACN Road, please come up. We'd like to take a couple minutes to congratulate you on graduating from the Executive Fire Officer Program from the National Fire Academy. It's a 4-year program. Has 320 hours of coursework to cover executive development, executive leadership, analysis of community risk reduction, and also with fire service operations and emergency management. On top of those 320 hours, he has to put in another 200 to 300 hours of research projects that have to directly benefit the fire district. So we put those reports to use to help change what we do. So Steve. Certificate, sir. Congratulations. Make some remarks if you'd like.
First and foremost, I want to say thanks to the board and Clearcreek Township for their support. I wouldn't be able to do this without that. Secondly, Chief Kidd and Assistant Chief Simpson, both very important in pushing me and driving me to do this, and then filling in for me and picking up from my slack when I wasn't there. The crews, they did a wonderful job helping me with research and projects and taking surveys and doing all kinds of stuff. Like Chief said, I calculated the night I did about 2,000 pages of research throughout this whole 4-year process. And if you don't know, for the 4 classes, 2 weeks of it you have to be away. So the person who gets the most recognition is my wife, because she had to be a single mom for 2 months, essentially, and deal with 2 Don't want to forget my mom for pushing me to always be better. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the July 16th meeting. So we've had a chance to take a look at the minutes. Anybody have any questions or any additions or alterations? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes? So moved.
Second.
Mr. Meterspaugh?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And fiscal business, Linda?
You guys are all welcome to hear what I have to say, but if you've got better things to do, I understand if you would like to leave. Yes. I've been in your seat before, so I get that, yeah. First off, the board has received our appropriation revenue and status report as well as our fund status report. Like I do every month, I want to read into the record that the township currently has $12,059,549.05 in its checking and investment accounts. I also wanted to talk to the board a little bit about the treasurer's has opened the open checkbook. We are now, I was showing Mr. Palmer, we now have a sign-on, and they have put in the first 2.5 years of Clearcreek Township's finances into the treasurer's. That doesn't cost us anything. The treasurer spent $814,000 bringing this program into the state of Ohio. It's free. We're going to be using it. We'll be one of the first local entities to go online with that over Labor Day weekend. And in the meantime, you'll get a preview of it prior to Labor Day. I said on a demonstration today, we can up that if we want. It's called opengov.com. It's the same people that sold Josh Mandel's the open checkbook concept, but this takes it one step further. It gives you all that information and reports where you can pull that information for budgeting purposes to see, what trends that you see. There's just a myriad of things you can use it for. I sat through a 45-minute demonstration, so I just know enough to be dangerous on it. The cost of that is $4,000 a year. It's a 1-year contract, so it's about $333 a month. I'm not asking for the board to take action on it today, but I would like to, the next step would be to schedule a meeting with all our department heads and the trustees, if they're available, to have a demonstration done to show you how this site works. And I was hoping if I could get a date from you guys on, that you would like to see. It's about an hour and a half demonstration. You can ask questions, it'll be an open webinar kind of thing. So if you would have time to do that, if you were so inclined.
You wanna do that like in the morning maybe, or something like that, early in the week? I know, Jason, you're on the road a lot.
Mondays and Fridays always work best for me, so.
That's fine.
Pete, you got any bad days coming up?
I know the 10th would not be workable for me.
10th is bad for me too. We have a meeting that night, but,
Okay.
I,
And then we've got on the next one.
Fridays seem like people kind of take off sometimes. Well, we talked about moving the 10th
Yeah,
to
we're
the
gonna,
11th.
oh,
I mean, we could do the 3rd, we could do the 17th. There's absolutely no reason to rush this if you guys, you know, I understand it's summertime and there's things going on.
How about the, I don't know if we really need, we'll have a meeting on the 11th, and then, how about the 17th? In the morning?
that's what I was looking at.
But, I mean, it's really important that
I
Chief
didn't know
Terrell and
we
Chief
moved.
Kidd, would that work for you? Are you guys gonna be out of town?
I'm good.
Yeah.
9 o'clock?
Does that work for you, Jack?
Mm-hmm.
The 17th?
Why don't you see if that'll work for them?
Set it up at 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock's fine.
Okay.
Did we move the 10th to the 11th at 9 a.m. as well?
Not yet, not officially.
They would like to.
Okay.
Okay.
So because if all three of you gonna, well, if two of you are gonna be here, that would constitute a meeting, even if that's all we're going to do, so we'll just have to give notice.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. So.
Okay. Great, thank you, I appreciate that.
That's what I, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, that's
Why don't
it.
you see if you can set that up? If not, tell us another date.
It'll work, that'll work, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
Linda, go ahead with your report, please.
If you're gonna do a meeting on the 11th at 9, do you wanna wrap this into that meeting time?
No, I can't.
No,
It's
okay.
gonna go very
I'm
long.
gonna be stretched to do that anyway.
Yeah, it won't work if it's very long. Okay.
That's it,
Current
I'm
bills?
done.
Okay.
Current bills is all.
Okay, so we're ready. Nothing else? Any questions for Linda of her fiscal officer report? Okay, we have had a chance to look at the current bills. Anybody have any questions about the current bills? Is there a motion to pay the bill?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yeah.
Mr. Wade?
Anybody have anything under unfinished business to bring up? Jack, anything?
No, sir.
All right, moving on to new business administration. No items tonight, Jack?
No.
And police history, we have a purchase recommendation, Kalia annual contribution, $3,000.
Clearly I missed the memo,
Yeah,
no
you did.
agenda items. So, Kalia, there's an annual fee to that, $3,470, it has to be approved that. Kalia is the agency that gives us our accreditation. We'll generate our accreditation year next year, but we'll gear up at the end of the year, and next year will be reassessed by that board.
Okay.
So this is just the annual we pay every year, and that's the board approved that.
Did that change from last year?
It is, I believe, the exact same amount.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the Kalia payment? So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we have some accolades. This safest city in Ohio, SafeWise 2015, we were number 11.
SafeWise just did a study here recently that we were named 62nd out of 100 cities in the nation as far as safest community to live. They break that down by state, and we just received those results, and they sent us a certificate saying we were number 11 safest city in the state of Ohio by their rankings.
Great job, Chief.
Outstanding.
Great job. And I think Springer ended up 28 in Ohio, so the whole area is pretty nice. Very nice. And if you take a look at that, I'm sure that's online, I haven't looked up through it.
It is, I think you can Google SafeWise and pull it up by state, pull it up by the national.
Did we put it on our website?
We did. Yeah, you can go to our website, and there's a banner there, you can pull up the national or the state one also. I think Jeff's already got it on there.
Very good. Okay, thank you, and again, congratulations, good job. Then we have outstanding impact on our community, Springboro Chamber of Commerce.
Tim Lofton, the board president of the Springboro Chamber, awarded the outstanding impact on our community certificate for recognition for Safety Town for the impact it's had on the community. So we're appreciative of their recognition of that, and I have a copy of their certificate they gave us.
Very nice. As I recall, you were hoping to get around 100, but had like 200 kids involved.
We graduated 194 children.
Awesome.
And I can give a brief breakdown of Safety Town if you want to parlay into that next.
Okay. Would you like to
Sure.
go into that, please?
We talked before about how many back slots we would have to fill by moving to full-time officers. I guessed that somewhere between 28 and 48 slots we'd fill according to vacation, according to how we use manpower. We ended up having to backfill 38 slots. That cost us $6,110.06. We got the $5,000 grant from the state to apply back toward that. So the net cost to put on Safety Town as far as salaries was $1,110.06. So.
All right. Good job.
And if you got, I don't know if any of you went up, I went up for the graduation of one of the final classes, and it really is amazing. We talked about telephones even from when we grew up versus what they are now. Things like that the kids have to be reinforced by someone other than mom and dad. I think it really was an amazing thing to see. And Nikki did a great job. Well, I know that several officers were involved. But,
Nikki and Chuck and Lisa all did a great job on it. We're proud of it. Parents were extremely receptive of it. They just had praise for it after everything. Talked about the kids correcting them in driving, so I apologize a couple times for graduating backseat drivers, but they seemed to enjoy it. The kids loved it. So
That's great. Good job. Anything else from the police department?
if I could hit a couple other things. National Night Out is next Tuesday night, 5 to 9. I'd like to have everybody in the community there as possible, and certainly you all could attend. We have completed the shotgun trade-in, getting ready to ask Minnesota to pay that bill at the next round. But in the end, we saved up $4,980 on trading in our seized firearms. So it brought that bill down to about $5,800 total. So we saved about $5,000. And the police department will be at Borough Family Fest this weekend, Friday and Saturday night. If you wish to attend that, we'll have a representation there during that. They've asked that we come
That's
participate in that. Borough Family Fest at the middle school, I think it is.
It's the extension of the Cook Family Fun Day.
Oh, okay.
They've turned it into a 2-day event, and it's going to be even, so
And it's this weekend?
it's this weekend, Friday and Saturday.
night and Saturday. And they've expanded it considerably, bands, couple nights, both nights. They'll have, they're trying to really follow what
Oh,
including
okay.
some of the additional things that
Is it gonna be at the high school?
what I understand.
I think they said middle school.
They're using the junior high actually.
Junior high.
They're going to use the football field at Miami Valley and everything there. I think it's going to have more of a carnival feel to it than it ever has prior to this.
Right.
And they're going to have things,
Oh.
the
It's
pulled
gonna be
pork
between
and
the high school.
yeah.
and,
Yeah, so you can park.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they're going to have the parking at the high school,
Yeah.
most likely.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, thanks for bringing that up.
That's it.
I'll be in the dunk tank on Saturday.
Ooh,
If you,
what time?
I don't know yet. I'll let you know. I volunteered for the dunk tank. I don't know if it'll hold me, but I'm going to give it a shot.
Well, I'll give it a shot myself.
Raise some money that way for them.
Okay, great. Anything else, Chief? Okay, thank you very much. Fire district?
Stop by and see the guys, they're covering EMS up there Friday and Saturday.
Okay. Zoning department?
I have nothing this evening, sir.
Excellent. Road department? Scott's not here. You have anything from the road department?
Now they're gonna be digging up the back tomorrow morning, so
Okay.
should get that work done here this week.
Good.
That is so necessary. I mean, I can't tell you how many times it's embarrassing that I have fallen back there because of the ice.
Hopefully this will fix it.
It's bad.
No, it is bad, for sure.
Yeah, all winter's just awful.
Okay. Moving on, next item on the agenda is the staff updates, and we have the Novak group presentation. Jack, would you like to lead into that?
Well, Julia Novak is here, and we engaged her several months ago to review the fire department, or the fire district, and administrative operations. So they've completed that work. Administrative one's been done for a little bit, and we've had that report. Fire got done a couple weeks ago, but a final report was sent out, I believe, Friday. So you probably didn't have a lot of time to digest it, but Julia is going to do a presentation and kind of question answer type session
Okay.
for you.
Are you going to, just to ask you how you're going to proceed through this? I want to start off to say I did read the report and did my highlighting and all that kind of stuff, very nice, by the way. I thought it was very good. So I guess my question is, are you going to go through every line of this, or are you going to hit the highlights? Thank you very
That
much.
would be so boring. You all get copies of the slides for you, so you have something to doodle on while I'm talking, but I'm sure you got your comments in there, check it out.
Great.
So first of all, thank you very much. It was last April, I believe, when we met as a group to do a little bit of long-range planning for the township, and at the same time, our team began this review of both the administrative functions as well as the fire district. We had 4 other folks who were working on this project for our firm. Jonathan Ingram was the project manager. He's met with the chief several times and with Jack several times. He was called away to Pennsylvania this evening, so he couldn't be here. Neil Cameron is our fire subject matter expert, and he worked on the fire district review. Haley Kadish worked with Jonathan and I on the admin review, and Josh Roush, who is here, was the analyst who worked on the fire department part of the study. So I want to walk you through at a very high level. I'm happy to answer questions, and I am not afraid to say I don't know the answer. So if I don't know the answer, I will find out, we will get an answer back to you, but hopefully we'll be able to just kind of hit the highlights this evening, and I'm going to just review key recommendations. So first, let me just walk through the administrative services group. One of the things that happens when we do our studies, we come in and we kind of take a snapshot on a day and time, and then life happens and work happens, and in this case, people retired. And so when that happens, there's a real opportunity to take a look at the organizational structure and see if it still makes sense. Is that the right position in this day, in this context? And so, what over time has evolved and changed, and what should we do differently? The other kind of evolution that happened over time was IT and zoning, and the kind of melding that happened because somebody had some capacity and some capability to do some work for you, and it just kind of became part of other duties as assigned, but wasn't necessarily a deliberate, intentional decision about how you wanted to provide services as a township. So those were a couple of specific areas then that we decided to dive in and take a closer look at. So the Assistant Township Administrator Public Safety Director position, that's the one where Ron retired just a few weeks ago. He had a specialized skill set in public safety. It seemed to be a good complement to the fire manager to have that kind of a back and forth. The reality is there's a different township administrator here, and the relationship between the 2 chiefs and the township administrator is really important. And so having that direct line of communication is something that we see as really appropriate in terms of organizational structure. And then when we look at some of the other functions that Ron was providing, there was a little bit of time spent on HR. It's probably something you could spend a lot more time on. Purchasing is another area where there isn't any centralized capacity in the township. So what we've identified is an opportunity to create kind of a more entry-level position. We would call it assistant to the township administrator. It could be some type of a management fellow, postgraduate school type of a position that would take on these responsibilities for HR support, for purchasing support, and providing some analytical support to the township administrator. So kind of changing that position, and you give yourself a utility infielder to kind of help you through the organization. With regards to planning and zoning and this IT director, IT contract manager evolution, one of the things that we identified was the potential to work with the city of Springboro in finding a new way to meet your IT needs as an organization. And you were in the midst of looking for a new IT contractor when we were here. We had a conversation with the city manager of Springboro and then kind of served that up to Jack really mid-process while we were doing our work. And again, we take a snapshot and life keeps happening, and they've been able to work out an agreement with the same contractor that works for the city of Springboro, and I understand he started last week, and it's just a real good opportunity for you all to share some services and develop a better partnership or strengthen an already good partnership with the city. So we think that's a great solution right now, and kind of allows you to put the planning and zoning back in planning and zoning. So that will give you a chance to be more proactive on the code enforcement side, because the planning and zoning director can spend time actually doing the zoning enforcement on the applications. The other thing that we just want to kind of place a watch on and just kind of pay attention to this type of thing is what administrative support looks like in the township. Right now you have a part-time person and a full-time person that reports to the police chief. They work really well together. We were very impressed by the coverage and things. The question down the road was changing the way the organization is structured at the top. Will there be a need for more or less administrative support as people are doing different responsibilities in other departments? Is there other capacity, and how do you use it? So that's just something that we've suggested to Jack that he pay attention to. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the fire district section then, unless you all want to stop me now and ask any questions on that piece. I know we kind of delivered them as two reports. Okay, so we'll just move. Okay, I'll just keep going then. So first of all, with regard to the fire district, we were really impressed with how well run the organization is. I had a chance personally, Josh and I did the focus groups with the line employees, and it was good morale, good camaraderie, and really a real sense of pride in the organization and serving the community. We don't always see that, and when we don't see it, we're quiet about it. We don't say, there's horrible morale here. But here's a chance for us to point something out that was good, and I really wanted to do that. I think if there's any kind of question mark in people's minds, it's what's the impact of the levee failure from a few years ago, and how does that impact things going forward? There has been some, we took a look at your staffing levels. Frankly, we really believe they're appropriate. There is not room to cut back and provide the level of service that you're providing for this community. So it really begs a long-term question of, will the community support a fire level, or are they saying they want a completely different level of service? So that's just something for you all to be paying attention to as your money is going to run out. So they target 13 firefighters per shift is kind of the bare minimum, and that's what the service expectations are based on. The only time you can take the ladder truck out is when you have at least 14 on, so the ladder truck doesn't go out. And that's, that we feel comfortable with the 13. It may be down the road that there's different apparatus that you might want to consider. We feel that the frontline supervision is appropriate in terms of lieutenants. In each of the firehouses, you have really solid supervision, and so I wouldn't necessarily suggest that you change any of that. When we look at the command structure of the organization, you have several positions that are actually not filled right now that are authorized, an assistant chief and a captain's position. And right now, the way things are working administratively is when one of the captains is out, it is backfilled by either the chief or an assistant chief, and it amounts to about 1,200 hours of work time that those folks are scheduled out of the office because they're covering shifts, and so they're scheduled for another day off. That's a significant amount of time. If you think about it, that's more than half of a full-time employee's amount of work, and so what is that saying about the time that they have to do their jobs? So our suggestion is to begin a process to backfill the captain position with the lieutenants instead. It'll require some training, and it's something that you'll want to kind of step into very deliberately. You've got young staff that are recently promoted, but grooming them and creating this leadership opportunity for them will help you as the organization matures and you have people ready for promotions down the line. So that was one of our suggestions. And then the planning captain position, When we read the functions, it's all very important. But given the financial situation right now and knowing that there's a structural deficit in terms of how you run the operations, we don't recommend filling that position at this time. It just doesn't seem to be a priority given the need to fund daily operations. Looking at the clerical staff, again, you've done a great job in this organization getting people to work together, and that's certainly to be commended. There's 4 part-time clerk positions and in the fire department, and our suggestion is to convert one to a full-time so you have a little more continuity and it's not always a handoff. They've done a good job with it, but it'll just provide a little bit more stability and more focus then for the chiefs and assistant chiefs, so better support for them.
With that, I think you mentioned we could probably get away with, handle the operation with 1 part-time and 1 full-time.
That's correct, yeah. I think there's a little bit of efficiency that you achieve there. We mentioned the need for strategic planning and you know, what does that look like in the fire department, really understanding what are the service expectations. We identify, you know, what your response time looks like, how long does it take to roll to a call. Community standards play an important part in that, and we can look at national standards and them saying that 60 seconds to turn out and 4 minutes to arrive. You all are a little behind that here. If you don't get a levy renewed, it's gonna go down even farther. And so, you know, what standards does the community want in terms of its fire department? And that would be a great question to ask them. The last strategic plan goes back all the way to 2000. So, updating your strategic plan in preparation for a levy renewal would be, well, strategic. That's the word I'll use, yeah. EMS billing, you know, one of the things that as times change, government looks to rely less and less on taxpayer funding and, you know, what can you charge a service for? And in this day and age, EMS billing is something that folks do. It's done by virtually all fire and EMS departments. They certainly have the ability to do it if they don't. And there's a policy decision that's very appropriate to make in terms of what's your posture when somebody doesn't pay the bill. Typically, if folks have insurance, the EMS calls are covered by insurance. And so, you know, to the degree that you're concerned about tapping someone's pocketbook, that's certainly understandable. The other side of that, though, is there's your taxpayers and the folks who live here and contribute tax money to the fire department, and therefore it feels funny to tax them as well or charge a fee to them. But then there's other folks who come in here from out of town who work here or who are driving through. They have an incident, they require a call for service, they've never paid. And so doing more of taking a harder line approach with out-of-town residents is something that we see jurisdictions doing, and you can work with your billing company. The zip codes make it a little challenging, but to have a policy of soft billing your residents and hard billing non-residents to recover those funds is something that folks do. There was some question about the need for a 4th fire station. Certainly, you know, in looking at your facilities, they're crowded. The dorm space is very small. The office space is really barely adequate, if adequate. And so maybe you would need, especially as the community grows, a 4th station is probably not out of the realm of possibilities. Funding an operating levy needs to be the priority right now, and so looking at, you know, where that station would be located and what that would look like and what the service standards would be an important part of your long-range planning. Fleet, we did recommend maybe looking at a different piece of apparatus, what they call a quint, and to replace the ladder truck. Those have the ability to act as a frontline pumper, which a ladder truck does not, and it's why your ladder truck is not always in service, because it can't be a frontline response. There's some other opportunities just in terms of document management using technology, and hopefully your new contractor will do a great job in supporting the fire department going forward. So I want to talk a little bit about the levy. I've mentioned a couple of times what we would call an operating deficit or a structural deficit in how services are funded. This means that there's a continual reliance on reserves, money that's been built up over time, to fund daily operations. Now, there's great things to use reserves for. I call it one-time money, and it should be used for one-time expenses. A great source for capital improvements, a great source for purchasing apparatus. Unfortunately, y'all are in the position of having to dip into those monies to fund your ongoing operations. And at the current pace, sometime mid to late 2018 is when we see the money running out. And so at that point in time, you'll have to operate very differently. And so obviously, given the coverage that you have and it seems appropriate for the township, it would make sense to start planning for a levy even sooner. And so if I think about sometime in 2018, we're not gonna have reserve funds anymore, then that tells me I need to begin, I need to have a solid plan in place, so I need 2017 to do that. So you're looking at sometime in 2016 for a special election. So that's a year away. It'll happen before we blink. And so as you all begin this planning process, it'll just be really appropriate. We think the fire district is appropriately staffed. The structural, there's no way in looking at their operations, there's no place we can go to get money to make it last even longer. In fact, the positions that we've said don't fill, they're currently not budgeted anyway, so that doesn't actually produce savings. But we really do believe that it's worthwhile to plan for a levy. It's much more fun to plan for a levy and hope it passes. The alternative is you'll be planning to close fire stations, so, and taking staff reduction. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, or write them down and get back to you.
Okay. Jason?
I've digested it for the first round this weekend. A lot of things that I felt like that the report was well done. I felt like that it reflects very well upon our district and our leadership. Obviously concerns me, which is what we've known for a long time, that this deficit at some point is going to come to pass. As far as questions go, I don't have anything right away I think it's pretty clear what's been put in front of us.
Okay. No, check. I think our next move is to talk to Jack and get department heads together, fire district, and set our plan and look at these recommendations and see which one we attack first. Personally, I think we need to get to work immediately on the strategic plan and get a nice committee put together of people from around the community and do what we did in 2000. I remember well. But that's not the quickest process in the world, so we, by no means, to do it properly. And I think we did a good job back then and met the needs of a strategic plan for the time. It's just outdated and it's 15 years old, 16 years old. So, Jackie, you and Bob need to get together as soon as possible and start that, in my opinion, would be the first thing to do. And then as a group, we just need to get together at another meeting and talk about the other items and see where they need to fall into place. That's what I hope to see. And I'm sure that you guys can get that started. 2018, just around the corner.
Okay.
Very
Well,
good.
if something comes up, Jack knows how to get a hold of
I'm
us.
sure we'll have
And
some questions.
really also want to say, appreciate the cooperation of the department heads when we do. We can't do our work without help and access and information, so appreciate everyone getting back to us. I know we asked for a ton of data, and thank you for providing it, so we appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for your work.
Did you have, I think there's,
I've got a couple comments. I appreciate the cooperation with Jason and Ed in moving forward with the consultation, this assessment. I think it's important for us as a township to increase, express to our constituents, we want to confirm where we're doing well. We want to be transparent to find out where can we do better. We found definite areas we can shift in administrative and save costs. We've saved costs right now, knowing how we're going forward with this. maintain, I guess, an effort in looking forward to this budget, considering past experience with the levy. You know, we're gonna need that levy, you know, and there's no doubt about it. And having the consulting group come in and say, we've got the right staffing, we just need to, you know, have the monies coming in. But I'd like to, as we consider talking about this levy in the future, we're going to be asking every resident in the township to adjust their budget because of this levy. And, yeah, I would like to consider in preparation, us looking at our budget in the fire district and making sure, you know, is there a way we can make some cuts between now and the 18th, not to, 2018, not to eliminate that, but to mitigate it a bit, to prolong it a little bit, just to make sure we're communicating to our residents that, you know, we are in it with them, and we want to cut everything that we can cut and still maintain this great service.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Again, thank you.
Thank you
for your
friends.
concise and brief presentation.
I was gonna read the whole report out loud too, but obviously you didn't want that, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody have any comments from anybody in the audience? Anything special?
I think I have some, but I'll talk with you later, Bob.
Okay, all right, very good.
I have some ideas.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Any other comments or before we move forward to an adjournment?
No.
I don't think there's anything else. I don't have anything else.
You need to decide between the August 10th.
Yeah, we do. Jack, we do need to set the August, we need to talk about the August 10th meeting. Because officially, we have not done anything. I think we pretty much decided to move it to 9 a.m. on the 11th. I think, isn't that correct?
I just found out about it, but I guess that's what we're doing, yeah.
That's right, you want
I wasn't here.
Well, if he needs to.
I didn't have to write it,
earlier.
I don't have to write a check this time, so I guess that works out well. Last time I had to write a check. So,
That's right.
just saying, I can move a meeting easier than that.
You're still good with that 9 o'clock.
That's
I'm
fine.
fine with whatever's good.
No, and if you'd rather do it at 8, I don't know.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
No,
we
it's
do
fine.
eight.
Do it at 7 if you want.
No. 8's okay then. You gotta draw the line someplace.
Whatever time you guys think. What's best for you, Jack? You want 8 or 9?
Doesn't matter to me.
Look, baby, 8:30.
I mean, 9's just fine, then we can make sure everybody's here and building's open and so forth.
Okay, is there a motion to move the meeting from August, the next meeting from August 10th to August 11th at 9 a.m.? So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Okay, any other business to come before the trustees tonight? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yes. Thank you for attending.